I was part of a revolutionary movement in Uganda which wanted to bring about transformative change through direct political action. But then, in 1986, a very backward political force in the country gained power and took power. It's now about 30 years ago, and they are still in power. And at that time, we came to the conclusion that the people of Uganda were not ready for what we called a revolutionary message, and instead they went along with the mass backward force. But they did so happily, not knowing what was in store for them. And that was in 86. So in 1991, we took a formal decision saying that, you see, the way the world had changed, the way Uganda had suffered under all manner of violence, the country was no longer ready for any more violence. In any case, there was little support for any group which wanted to engage in violence praxis in the country, and the people themselves were tired. And we were of the view that there was something wrong with what we were saying to the people and calling revolution. And so we said, therefore, the message which we had learned from the Western University had come to an end. We had nothing new to offer to the people. And so we decided to disband and go back into the people and look for the true solution to the Uganda problematic. And we said, if after some time we find the answer, then we will reconvene to see how to move forward. And in the case we do not, well, those who will come after us will decide what to do. And within that framework, as a way of going back to the people, to my people, I organized a think tank, an Africa-wide think tank, to say what is the problem and what do we do about it. And we ended up by saying that the problem is that Africa cannot make it because we decided, or we were stampeded in thinking that we can found our development, our progress on Western education and the white man's language. And that we can never become experts, we can never become part of the cutting edge of creating knowledge in the English language. And that therefore, when we decide to follow the white man, we really are deciding to be his academic houseboy. And so the way forward was to establish an institution which would answer the call of a university, which would be centered around African language and African wise men and women whose brains had never been mangled and scrambled by the Arab and the white man's thought. And so we kept on coming up with the word university until at a later moment we said no, what we want is not a university, because the uni means one, which is universal and works everywhere. One size fits all. But we wanted to create space which would give a multiplicity of people's space to advance their knowledge in their consistent with their languages and culture. And so we came up with multiversity.